See these stunning UI card animations? Well, today I'll show you exactly how you can build these inside of DaVinci Resolve Fusion. And I'll give you my simple 3-step framework so you can design and animate your own UI cards from scratch. These cards are perfect for explainer videos and tutorials, basically anytime you want to guide your viewer through a process. And if you're new to DaVinci Resolve or video editing in general, don't worry. This is a beginner-friendly masterclass, meaning I'll walk you through everything from the first UI shapes to the smooth animations all the way to the cinematic result you can drop straight into your own videos. Now let's just jump into DaVinci Resolve and start with the first step, which is designing the UI card. So now we're in DaVinci Resolve, and the first thing we're going to do as usually is just jump into these settings, and then we'll change the timeline frame rate to 60 FPS. And the reason why we do this is because 60 FPS is a lot smoother than 30 or 24 frames per second. And the resolution you can just choose whatever. I'll just choose 180p. Now just press on save to save these settings, and then we're just going to go ahead and jump into the effects here, and then we can just grab a fusion composition onto the timeline itself. And the next thing we're going to do when we have the fusion composition on the timeline is we will just click on this wand here to jump into the fusion page. And the first thing we're going to do in here is just grab a background you can see here, and then we'll just drag it onto the fusion composition itself. Then just drag the output from the background into the media out, and then we'll change the type to 4-corner gradient, and the top left one we'll just press on the drop down here, and then we'll just choose a green color or whatever color you would like for your card animation, and we'll just make it this dark green color. And then we'll just take the eyedropper from the bottom right and drag it up to like this. So now we can start building the cards itself. So I'll just grab another background and add it to the composition, and then just add it to the output of the other one here, create a little merge in between. And then we can just grab a rectangle to it, and then just add it to the composition and add it to the background like this. And then we can just decrease the width quite a bit like this, and maybe add a little bit more height, and just drag it down just a tiny bit like this, because we're going to be placing an icon on top, so we just need a little bit more room to work with up here. And then we're just going to add a little bit of corner radius in the rectangle just to round off the corners to get that really smooth look. So now let's just design the card itself. So I'll just go to the background and change the type to gradient like this, and make it a radial gradient. I'll just drag the darkest part up here, and the light I'll drag down here. And the light one I'll just make a really dark shade of green like this, really dark. And the light version up here I'll just make a little bit of a lighter shade of this green color, and just drag this up so it becomes a little bit of a tighter circle, and we can probably make it a bit more green like this. Now we will design this thing here in the bottom of the card itself. So I'll just copy this background and paste it like this, and create a merge in between by dragging this to the other output. Then I'll just grab polygon node and add to the background, and then I'm just going to draw this shape in the bottom here, so something like this, just a square like this. And then we'll just go into the merge here and go to operator, then do a top, and when we do a top, it just snaps everything onto this shape here, if that makes sense. So everything in here, if I just change it to a bright red color, you can see it's just on top here. So now we can just shape this here, so drag this up a little bit, maybe drag it down to create this wave kind of look. And we're not gonna use a red color, which was just to demonstrate it for you. Then we'll just drag the lightest part down here, and the other one we'll drag over here, and then the light version we'll just go to a green and do a really light shade of green, and the other one will just be this darker shade of green, and we'll just do it kind of like this. And then we'll just add a blur node right after to soften it up to create this gradient kind of look. As you can see now, this looks really clean. Then we just go into the polygon and just turn the level down just a little bit like this. On the light version here, let's just go ahead and make that a little bit more white, and the dark one, let's just make it a little bit more of a green kind of color like this. So now this looks really good. We can just grab an icon if we want that. So I'll just go to the media pool, and then I'll just find some icons on a website like Flat Icon. I have some here, and you can find them in the description if you want to, and I'll just drag it into the media pool. And for this card I'll just be showing you the animation process. So the first process is design, as we know. So I'll just be using this paintbrush here to resemble design. So I'll just grab a background and add this one in this paintbrush into the background, and if I click on one we can see it in the media pool here. Then we can just change the type to gradient, and then we'll just drag the dark part up here, and the light part will drag down like this, and the dark part will just be a really light shade of green. And let's just add that to the other merge here, so we get a merge in between, and then we can size it down a bit and just drag it up like this, so we get this really cool look on top. For the animation you're doing, you can just use whatever icon that fits what you're saying. So if you're talking about the number one thing could be making money or whatever, you'll just be doing a dollar bill, for example, as an icon. So now we got this, and if you want to, you can use underlays to show whatever it is. So I'll just underlay like this, and just size down, click on F2 to rename it. And I'll just type icon, and then we'll just move these up a little bit and drag it over so we can see this here is the icon. And we can also add an underlay for these on top. So I'll just rename this to card. Change the color to lime color, and then just drag it on top like this. So now everything is really good organized, and under this we can add some text. I'll just grab a text plus, add it into the merge like this, and this will just type step 1, make the font whatever font you like. I'll use enter, and then I'll just make it a light version of the font, size it down a lot, and maybe make the color a yellow color, and we want this to be quite small actually. Drag it over, and then we just do the anchor to the top and to the left side just like this, and then just drag it down. We're down here or something like that. And this text I'll just rename to step, so we know this is where the steps are happening in, and then we can just copy it and paste it. And this I'll just rename to text, and then just add it into the step here. It's the color to white, let's say, and then I'll just type something under here. So I'll just go to my scripts, and then I'll just take whatever it says in here. So this is the foundation colors and etc. And then just go to layout, change it from point to text box, and then we'll just size it down quite a bit like this and drag it right under like so. And this should be pretty good, and we just make it a little bit smaller and drag it a little bit more down like this. So this should be pretty good. Now we can add the header where it says design or design UI or whatever. We're just going to grab another text plus here, and you can absolutely animate all the text from scratch like I'm doing here. But if you want to save a bunch of time, you can grab the animated text pack, which got 48 pre-built text animations. It's plug and play, super clean, and you can customize everything. Links down below if you want to check it out. Add into the merge, type design UI. Then just make the font enter and size it down quite a bit. Maybe this is a bit too small, and this should be good. And then we'll just make it semi-bold. Then you can just right click in the box here, and then we'll just click on follower, which allow us to do each character animating on by itself. I'll just go into the modifiers and go to shading and add a keyframe on the opacity at frame 25. Go back to frame 0 and just drag this down to 0. Go to transform and add a keyframe on the offset. And you're just going to click back into the follower and then add a keyframe on the offset again at frame 25, and then just go to the first one and then just drag it down to like something like this here, and then just go to timing and do like 1.5, let's say, so each light up like this. So as you can see, this doesn't look that smooth, so we'll just jump into the spline and we'll just check on these, and then just do zoom to fit, then click on Control A, then right click to ease, and then out cubic, get this really smooth animation curve. So what we have is just the time on the x-axis and then the slide up or opacity on the y-axis. So as we can see, it goes pretty fast in the beginning, and then it just slows down over time. So let's just take a look at it now. You can see this is really clean and snappy, and this is pretty much what our cards are made of. So I'll just add another underlay. This one will just say text underlay, because we can't make it say text because this one is already called text. So I'll just change the color to, let's just do a navy color, and we'll just drag it on top of all of this, and then we'll just drag all of this up a little bit, this. And for the glow, I'm using the new glow. It works exactly like the deep glow in After Effects and looks way better than DaVinci Resolve Soft Glow. If you want this exact effect and the light script light, you can grab the free starter pack and the links down below. And we can add a new glow this here, and then just change the channel to the green channel, so we are targeting the green colors the most, and then just drag down the intensity just a little bit like this. So this was the first card. So what we can do when we have done all of this is just mark all of this here, and then click on Control G to make it a group, and this I'll just call card number 1. Then we can just copy it and add one more this here, and this card we can just jump into, and remember, call this one card 2, and where we have the icon here, I can see. So I'll just delete this here, go into my media pool, and then I'll just add one that says anchor point. This is for the animation part, and we can see we added this basic curve. Then I'll just go to the text and make it say step number 2. And for this text down here, I'll just go back to my script and take the one that says number 2 animation. Then I'll just change the text in it, and then I'll just go to the title here. I'll type animate UI and drag it over like this, so the lines on the side like this. And as you can see right now, they are on top of each other, but we'll just change that a little bit later when we're going to be doing the animation part. So I'll just add another card, this, and add it into the merge here. This one we will call card number 3. Let's just start with the icon again. So we'll just delete the icon, add this video camera like this, and honestly I feel like we can drag it up a little bit more, something like this here, and we'll just change it to step number 3. This will just go into the script once again, and you can just type whatever you want or just copy what I'm saying. And where it says design UI, I will just say camera movement, and I hope this fits. It doesn't, I can see, so that's a bit annoying, but we have two options. We can either below, or we can just size it down a little bit, and I'll just size it down so it fits this here, and then we'll just copy this size here, and then we'll just jump into the other ones and add the same size, because it'll look a little bit stupid if they're different sizes. So let's just turn off this card here so we can see the other one, and this one that says animate UI, I'll just call it start animating. And the one that says design, let's just turn this number 2 off, and this one will just keep saying design UI, but we'll just size it down a bit. This should be good. So now we have pretty much designed all of the cards. So what we can do now is go into the step number 2 in the framework, which is the start animating. So we'll just turn on all of the cards. What we can do now, if you got the new anim from the core pack, you can use the new anim to animate it. So I'll just show you quickly what that could look like. So let's add new anim here. We just move it to the left. Let's just do something like this. And then we just do a position animation, blend animation, and a blur, let's say. Then just drag the position down just a little bit. As you can see now, we get a really clean light up and fade in with a little bit of blur to it. And this you can just add for all of the cards. And if you like the new glow and the light strip light from the starter pack, then my effects core pack is basically a big brother. It comes with 8 effects plugins, such as the new reflection, emboss, inner glow, and inner shadow, and 4 more clean effects, such as one animation plugin which lets you animate anything in just seconds without any keyframes. If you want to upgrade your entire workflow, the link's down below. Now I'll just show you how you can do it another way. So I'll just add a transform. This one we'll just do 0.18. This we'll just do it 0.9, looks a little bit better. And what we can do is just add a keyframe here, frame 0, and then just go to frame 40, let's say, drag this one down quite a bit like this. And we need to make a blend animation, so we'll just add a background like this, and then just swap the inputs. So this is the background, and then we'll just turn all the alpha all the way down, and just go into the merge here, and then go to frame 40, add a keyframe on the blend, and then go to 0 and drag it down to 0. As you can see, we get this slide up and fade in. So what we can do now is just click on control on both of these, or just mark both, and then you just go into the spline, then click control A, and right click, and then do ease, and then out cubic. So we get this really clean slide up and fade in. And if you want to, you can also add a blur. Let me just show you what that looks like. I'll type blur, and then we can just add a keyframe in the beginning. So add a keyframe on the blur size at frame 0, just drag it down to 0, and then go to the first frame here, and then just make it 15 or something like that. And then just go into the spline and click Control A, right click, do ease, and then out cubic. So we get the slide up with the blur. So that's pretty much it for this first animation here for the first card. So we can just mark all of these here, click on Control G. And then we'll just call this one animation 1, and let's just change the color to teal color, and this should be pretty good. So we can just copy this here, add to the card number 2, change this to anim 2, and this one we want to stay in the middle, so that's pretty good. So we'll just copy this and add to the next one here. This will change to anim 3, and for the anim 3 we'll just go into it, go to the transform, and then we will just go to the last keyframe, and then just make this one 8.9, let's do that. And that's not it, it's 8.1 actually. And just go to the first keyframe and do 8.1 again. This is pretty good. And this one here is on the wrong side, so we'll just go to this one and do 0.5 on the first keyframe and do 0.5 on the second as well. As you can see now, each of them slides up at the same time, and that's not actually what we're intending. So what we can do now is just delay them. So we can open the keyframes tab here. So the first one we will want to slide up at frame 0, so that's good, that's what it does. Second one, we can just open all of these on the drop down, and then we can just mark them. So just hold control when marking them, and then you can mark all at the same time. And this one we can just delay to whatever frame we want. I'll just go to frame 100, let's say, and then just make this start animating on frame 100. So you can see now, start animating on at frame 100. Third one, let's just make it animate on at frame 200. So just open all the drop downs and mark them. So hold control and mark them, and then just go to frame 200, and then just drag these over. So you can see the first keyframe begins at frame 200. So if we want to now, we can just go to the edit page and then just enable playback and then do smart. So now it's pretty much rendered. So let's just go ahead and take a look at it. And as we can see, there needs to be a little bit delay on the text animation as well. So let's just jump in and do that. I'll just go to card number 2, go to the text animation, and then just delay to frame 100. And we'll just do the same for card number 3. This one we'll just delay to frame number 200 instead. So now we can see the animation is following and the animations looks really good. One last thing is the gradients on these two looks a little bit off. So I'll just go into the number 2 here, go to icon, and I'll just green on top here and drag the white in the bottom. And I'll just go to card number 3 and go to the gradient here and just drag it on top like this and drag this in the bottom, and this looks pretty good. So now we are pretty much done with the second part, which is the animating. So now we're ready to go to the third step in the framework, which is the camera movements. So what I like to do is you can either use a transform, but I like to use the DVE node. And what you can do with this is you can add perspective easily. You can easily do something like this to add some perspective and so it looks 3D. But we won't do this for this animation, but I just like to have it. So the first animation we're going to be doing is we'll just go to frame 100 and add a keyframe on the center. So the first keyframe at frame 100 will just be 0.81 like this. So this is center. This is really good. And then we'll just go to frame 200 and then we'll just do it 0.5. So it animates onto here. And then when we are on frame 200, we'll just go to frame 300 and then we'll just go to the center and do 0.19 and add a keyframe like that to center the camera movement. Now we'll just jump into the spline at the displacement here, and then we'll just mark all of these frames and click on F to flatten out the animation, and we'll just drag up the ease in quite a bit to 70 or something like that, and the ease out we'll do 55 or something, so it starts animating pretty fast and then it just slows down. So this we'll just call X animation. So now we'll just add one more DVE, which we'll just call static zoom, and for this one we'll just add a keyframe in the beginning and go to the last frame and then just zoom in a little bit like this. So what the name static zoom means is just it zooms in just a slight bit over time, just to add some movement into the camera. I'll just copy the static zoom and add it right after here. This we'll just call start zoom because we want to make this kind of punch in the beginning. So I'll just reset the DVE, a keyframe in the beginning and at frame 50, and then just go to the first frame and zoom out quite a lot like this, and then we'll just do zoom to fit, and then we'll just make this curve where it goes fast in the beginning and then it slows down, and then it slows down this. So as you can see now, it zooms in like that. Looks really clean, to be honest. And what we can do when these animations are, when it's animating over like this, what you could do is add a blur node or whatever we want when the animation is at its peak velocity. So you can add a little bit of blur on this part here, but we won't really do that because we already got some blur on the size in animation or the pop in animation. So this was the last part of the framework, which was the camera. But now we'll just go back to the design part. So I'll just go back to the edit page and we can just take a look at it if we want to, just to feel what we need to add in the design part. So what we'll be doing in the design part while it's rendering, I'll just show you. We'll just add an adjustment clip on top, and then we'll just be adding a vignette, maybe a little bit of chromatic aberration and some grain in it. So let's just let it render and then we can go in and take a look at what we need to be adding. So let's just take a look at it. I feel like the animations are a little bit too slow, so we'll just go back into the Fusion page. And the animations I think are too slow in particular is these X movement animations. I'll just add a keyframe at frame 150 and then just make it 0.5 in the X value here. And the one where it moves over, we'll just make that 50 frames again. So this one will just be 19 like that. So both of these animations is just 50 frames and not 100 frames. We'll just go into line again and then just mark all of these, click on F, and then just drag up the ease in to 70 again and the ease out to 55 or something like that. And then we'll just go back to the edit page again and then take a look at it. So now the animation is rendered, so let's just go ahead and take a look at it real quick. So this is a lot better with the animation, and I think we are ready to go back into the design part again. Now we'll just jump into the adjustment clip I added a bit earlier. So I'll just go into the Fusion page here. So the first thing we're going to be adding is just add a vignette. We can't really see anything, but we'll just change the operating mode to advanced, and then we made the transparency 0.8. That you can see, this just makes it focus a little bit more on the middle. And what we can do also, if we want to, is what we can just add a blur. make it blur just a tiny bit like this, and add a circle to it, add an ellipse, and then just drag it out to the sides like this here, and then just add a ton of soft edge into it, and then press invert. As you can see now, it's just a little bit blurred around the edges, so this just gives a pretty cool look as well. And the next thing we can be adding is just add some kind of chromatic aberration. So you can just go to the effects here, templates, and then type chromatic aberration, and then just grab this one here. And then we can see it's splitting the RGB channels to get this pretty cool look. So this is after, this is before. I don't really like this chromatic aberration, so if you've got Reactor, you can use the chroma fuse here, which is really cool. This is a really nice way to be adding some chromatic aberration. So as you can see, this is a bit much, but this right here looks really good. So this is after, this is before. And also I'm actually working on a chromatic aberration, so let me just find it and we can take a look at it. And this will be for the core pack. So let me just know what you think. I'll just add a little bit of displace, as it's called, because we have a few options. So this is a bit too much. I'll just drag it down a little bit. This, as you can see here, we get some really nice chromatic aberration. And we can also do some scale if you want to. So it's more chromatic aberration around the edges. Or we can do rotation. So it's this kind of rotation aberration. But I'll just do some displace chromatic aberration instead. So this looks really good, and I'll just change it to mirror, and this should be nice. One last thing we can be adding is some grain. I'll just do this one here, and I'll just make it 1.5, and as you can see now, we get this really nice grain as the look of it. And if you want a little bit more glow, you can of course add a new glow more right before here, and I think this is a bit too much, but you can just add a little bit. Feel like it needs a little bit more glow. I think it's good as it is, so this is pretty much it. So we can just go ahead and take a look at the final result. And that's the full masterclass. I hope you picked up some new tricks. And honestly, I'm really curious. So what do you want to see in the next video? More UI animations, more plugins, or something completely different? Drop your ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching. And if you want to learn 2 more UI animations, click on the video on the screen.